right, so welcome back everybody. What we're doing in this one is we are actually going to walk through a document as well as a wireframe project, both within this video. The first one we're going to look at in Claude Design is a document project. So from here, right, we're right back at our templates. We can see that our design system and our template are set up the way we want them. We've got a design system that's kind of a grayish background with some blue and dark blue coloration, and then obviously we're creating a document. Now from here, I'm just going to put in our prompt for our document, and then I'm going to submit it. And just keep in mind here, one thing we spoke about this in the very first video of this playlist. When you're putting a document together with Claude Design, think of it more in terms of a template that you're putting together. You could be putting together a finished presentation as well, but really it's about the actual look and feel of the document rather than using Claude Design to put the content together. So just keep that in mind. But anyways, we go ahead, we select the submit button, and then we ultimately wind up with a document. And here, just a small one-pager. What I want to do is point out that this table isn't really quite the way that I want it. In the fact that I like tables where every other line has a coloration to it to kind of separate it out. And what we're going to do, in spite of the fact that we have edit and tweaks and everything else up at the top, what I want to do for this project is actually come back to the prompt and actually put in a prompt to have the AI go in and put in colorations every other row in the table inside my document. So I'm going to click on send. It's going to chew on it for a little while, and then we'll see what it comes out as. As you can see here, by just using the prompt, I got the coloration that I wanted. So with the document, just as pretty much with everything else, you have variations on ways that you can share it, right? So here, obviously PDF, you can do a project in HTML if you want. If you wanted to make this into a web page, PowerPoint, and in my case, it would be a single slide PowerPoint. But again, you also have the ability to share with other Claude Code projects, again, local or on the web. Now, the document was pretty straightforward, right? It's really not too terribly much to it, and it had the same tools that we've seen with edit and everything else. We've seen that in the past. Now, wireframes, one of the things I want to point out with wireframes is, yes, we have a design system, and then we have our template as wireframe. Here, I'm going to go ahead and put in the prompt, and then I'm going to hit submit. But before I do that, I just want to take a real quick moment, and if we look down at the wireframe inside the template, you can kind of see it even implies it has a lot of placeholder. It's got this X with this dash line around it, and it really doesn't have much coloration in it. So it's giving you a real good indicator of this wireframe is really not a very flashy element or project. It really is straightforward, bare bones. So let's look and see what we get from that. Right off the bat, we're going to get a very similar questionnaire that we had with our prototype, right? And there's a couple pages on it. And you'll notice at the very bottom here where the arrow is, I basically just said make sure that you avoid all clutter because I just want bare bones wireframe as opposed to a whole bunch of colorations and everything else that's just going to make it more confusing. But we're also going to look at one other difference here shortly between the wireframe and the prototype. Once I have everything set up, I've answered the questions the way that I see fit. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on continue. And now what I want to do is take a walk through that wireframe so you understand much better how it differs from the actual prototype, which was a very engaging, very interactive walkthrough of our project. Here, when it comes to wireframe, we're just going to go to present. We're going to go to full screen once again. And as we do that, you can see here that it's kind of showing me each screen all together. And while I can click certain places, I can scroll through everything, it's not that interactive kind of app simulator that we had with the prototype. Here, it's showing me all the frames. It's showing me all the screens. It's showing me where the frames are on the screens. And you can get a feel for how this thing is laid out, but you can't necessarily get a feel for how it's ultimately going to look from a color palette. Is it going to be yellow, purple, orange, whatever. But we can also go in and we can actually edit certain elements within this wireframe as well, right? And I'm just kind of picking around and selecting different things so you get an idea. Here I've got a button selected, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scroll down to background. I can put an image, a gradient, or I'm going to put a color in there. right? And so the same kind of stuff that you've seen before. If you want to do this with your wireframes, which is fine, maybe you do this before you give it to your development team. But you get the idea that the wireframe really is kind of this bare bones sort of project, right? It just shows the layout rather than the look and feel of it. And here, once again, just to kind of point out some of the differences that's going to be happening within your UI, here down in the projects, we can see everything that we've worked on. And all you do when you click on it, right? This is the wireframe once again. You click on it and you're right back into your project, right? And you can see that the prompt has been maintained and everything else, right? So here from a wireframe perspective, how can you save this? Well, you've got quite a few options, right? When you go to share, obviously you're looking at this, still has Claude Code, PNG project, but one of the ones I want to point out here really quick, and most of the projects do have this, is publish as an artifact. And really all that is you're going to be able to publish a URL and allow anybody, regardless if they have a Claude account or not, they can still come over to that link that you provide and see what you want to present to them. In this case, it'd be wireframes, right? You'll see a lot where they have this published as artifact, but you get the idea basically what it is. It's a read-only view for your work. So with that being said, in this video, we went over pretty quickly the document as well as the wireframe, but we saw that they had virtually the identical kind of tools and options that we've seen in our past projects. So you kind of get an idea how Claude Design is starting to work. In the next video, we're actually going to go over animations, which is going to be a little bit cool. So if you're getting something out of these videos, again, always a huge appreciation. A like and a subscribe really helps the channel out.